Hey guys, I am so glad you're here at Grey Roots this week. It is going to be a little bit of a wild one, so I hope you're ready. This is going to be the time where you get to hear from some of our lovely daughters in laws. Our first daughter in law that we're going to talk to is actually Essa. So, Essa, I want you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of when you became a daughter in law and who you belong to in this group.
Yes, so I am Alicia's daughter-in-law. I'm married to her oldest son, Andrew. I met him when I was 21, so 12 years ago. Yeah, I mean, it's been great ever since. I mean,
Oh.
we got married 6 years ago now, so that's when I officially became, I guess, a daughter-in-law, but, I mean, we've always all been very close, so.
I love that. So starting off, I
Mhm.
have a quick question. Did you have any kind of preconceived notions like what is a mother-in-law, like when you were younger, or the stereotype? What did you have that role in your head of what a mother-in-law looked like?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, how the movies portray them, they're always, like, monster-in-laws, but, I mean, I
Mhm.
was hopeful. I didn't go into it, like, thinking that she was gonna be a monster-in-law, and, I mean, the first time I met her, one of the first times we were, like, at a Mexican bar dancing to the mariachi band and drinking beers, so it was great.
Oh yeah.
So I knew she wasn't
She
gonna be like that.
That's awesome. Were you anxious at all though about joining another family or becoming a daughter-in-law? Did that feel anxious at all to you?
Yes. Yeah, I was very nervous to especially meet his mom out of everyone that I met in the family, but
What is it about that essay you think about meeting the mom? Why is that so nerve-wracking?
no, I think just because guys in general, I feel like they don't care. Like, the first time I met his brothers, they were like, "Hey, what's up?" They didn't care.
Right.
I know that his mom's gonna be, like, looking me over, investigating me, making sure that, I'm a perfect fit for her son, and so, yeah, I mean, all the men, they didn't care.
That's so funny, but I see that, yeah,
It's
I think
true.
there is something about meeting that mom, I agree. And how was it? Like, I know you just said you're having a beer and with the mariachi band, but how was the conversation when y'all first met?
I feel like she wanted to get to know a lot about me, which was nice, and she didn't, like, brush me off. She actually wanted to, like, find out who I was as a person and, like, what's my dream vacation that I wanna go on, and what did I wanna do, school-wise or in life, and, like, wanted to know about me rather than, I guess, just kind of like the boys, just be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah. What's up? Yeah.
Or, like, any
That's
first judgment, like, she didn't just pass judgment because, I mean, when I met her, I had purple hair, piercings. I think we were going to, like, a beer festival. I had on, like, just shorts and a T-shirt, like a band T-shirt, and I know that that was not probably what she expected her son to come home to or with, a girl with purple hair and piercings, but so I'm glad that she didn't pass initial judgment off my looks and then got to know me as a person.
Yeah,
Mm,
I love that. I would not expect anything else from Alicia. Alicia,
mhm.
how was that first time with the purple hair and the piercings?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of took me back a little bit. I was like, "Huh, okay." And, when she went I think it was your first Christmas that we went to St. Louis, and
Mhm.
Andrew asked if you could go, and her mom, bless her heart, was beside herself because she'd never been without her daughter at Christmas time, so I think that was really hard for her, but anyway, we got to St. Louis, and we're sitting around the table, and I'm talking to my sister-in-law, Laura, and of course, we'd had a couple beers and I made a comment about how I'm like, yeah, like I like her a lot. She's not like any of the other girls that I've seen him with, which is probably a good thing, right? And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, I don't know. They were all just like these like Barbies, right? And
Blonde models.
probably not the right thing to say. And my sister-in-law looked at me like, you can't take that back. And then I
You
had to
said it in
try to
front of
explain
Essa?
myself.
You
Yeah,
said that in
she was
front of
there.
Essa?
So
Yeah.
here's why I just like feel for the mothers-in-law, because I didn't mean that in a bad way for her. I meant like she was real. She was a real person. She wasn't fake. She was going to tell you like exactly what she was thinking. Right? She wasn't going to pussyfoot around anything or lie about it or pretend to be something that she wasn't. And I really respected that about her that I did not see in the other girls that he brought home. So, but the way that it came out, because they were all, I
Because
am
you
a
said
Barbie
physical. You said
girl.
something physical. Yeah. I
Yeah,
could get
yeah,
that.
that it
Yeah.
was
W
correct.
how did that feel, Essa? Like that initial, did that change things? Like, were you like, ugh, when she
I
said
think it,
that?
like, changed things, but I definitely, like, kept it It was something that I think, like,
Just maybe a little
hurt me
poke.
for a little bit until one night
Yeah.
I told her about it. And then I
Yeah.
was
Oh
like,
my
"Yeah," I
gosh,
was like,
Yeah.
good for you,
"Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
Essa.
a
Yeah.
blonde model." So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I
you're
mean,
Which
I
is
just
think,
not
like,
at
gorgeous.
all.
originally I took
Let's
it as,
just
like,
go on record to say you're gorgeous and should be a model, so
Yes. If
and not
y'all
all
are
models are
watching this, I
blonde.
mean, Essa is like a China doll. I mean, she's so beautiful. So it had nothing to do with that I thought she was less than it and again, when I said it, I wasn't really even realizing that I said something that could have been hurtful until it was kind of brought to my attention.
So Essa, number one, bravo that you spoke up for yourself and said that. I think that's huge in any relationship. And number two, how has it been since? Like, have you had other times where you've had to be honest and had struggle? Because everybody does. Every relationship has a little bit of that. How do you handle that? Have you continued? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I know Alicia's right there, but have you continued to be able to be honest with how you feel in this relationship with Alicia?
yeah, I mean, I think so. I think sometimes, like, there's definitely trickier situations than others, but,
Sure.
like, I feel like for the most part, I've gotten to the point now where I feel like I can, like, tell her or even just, like, give a facial expression, and she knows that, like, that hurt me or,
I
like,
said another dumb
something.
thing.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like in
Okay.
Yeah.
like, situations yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable now being able to go and speak to her or, like, tell her not even if it has to do with us, just anything,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
surrounding the family or anything. I feel like I can go to her and tell her now, and we have a pretty open communication.
So, what advice would you give someone who's maybe about to become a daughter in law and they're not sure how to navigate that honesty in a relationship? What would you say to them now that you're seasoned at
Really
this?
scary at first, right? Because you're coming from, like,
Yeah,
your family. Like, my family is only girls, it's just me and my sister. So the way that we communicated is a lot differently than coming from a family where it's all boys, right? So it's like,
right.
I didn't know in the beginning that, like, I was scared to ever communicate how I was feeling because I don't know, like, they were just boys. They didn't do it. I didn't want to overstep any boundaries or make any waves.
Hmm.
So I feel like, yeah, it just took a little bit for me to get to the point where I was like, screw it. I'm here.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah,
I'm not going to go anywhere, even if I do say something that maybe like they don't like. But at the end of the day, then it's like, at least it's off my chest. Cause I'm the type of person that it will like eat me alive. And I will just like fuel the
yeah,
fire if I can't get out what's bothering me.
yeah,
So I think that that was nice, but I think, yeah, it's just scary going into another family and having to,
yeah,
like,
for
learn
sure.
their dynamics or, like, not wanting to step on toes or cross any boundaries, and not only for the sake of me, but for the sake of Andrew. I don't wanna say something that gets him in trouble with his family, you know? So
Yeah,
I think that yeah, I mean, just going in and then, like, a lot of it was me and Andrew talking about it. Like, just
right.
me being open
Mm.
with him and, like, I was just listening to last week's podcast this morning and how you were talking about how I'll
Good
go to Andrew
girl.
and be like, "Hey, this bothered me," and he's like, "Well,
Mhm.
why don't you talk to my mom about it?" Like,
Yeah.
he's encouraged that open conversation rather than, like, because I didn't know how to operate it, I didn't know if because it's his family, he should be the one to handle it or
Hmm.
what, and he kinda
Mhm.
gave me that free range to speak my feelings too and he'll back me on it. As long as he thinks I'm right, he'll tell me if I'm wrong.
I love that. That all sounds really healthy to me.
Mhm.
Okay, sadly, this is short and sweet, but I do want to finish with I want to hear your favorite things about each other. So, Essa, what is your favorite thing about Alicia? And then, Alicia, you share your favorite thing about Essa.
Ooh.
I love how you are great with my grandbaby or with your grandbabies, my babies, and you love them fiercely, and how you are willing to have an open mind about any situation. You don't ever just see things one-sidedly. I can always come to you and tell you, and you're going to see it from every angle and help
Mhm.
work through the process, and how kind you've been to me over the years while I'm also learning how to do this whole thing and be a mom and be
Mhm.
a wife, and you've helped me out a lot. And I always come to you for advice whenever I need it. So thank you.
That gave me
So
chills. Like I
Thank
literally have
you.
hair standing
I me
up.
too.
I love that, Elsa. You get the
Me
prize.
too.
That's so sweet. Okay, Alicia, your turn. What do you love
Uh,
about Essa?
and kudos to us, right? Because I think it is especially hard, and I know we're going to talk about this with the other daughters-in-law that come on, but it's especially hard, I think, being the first daughter-in-law because
Hmm.
there aren't any other kind of sisters kind of stepping in it with you that you can be like, hey, like, is this okay? How do they do this? You're kind of trying to figure it all out
Yes.
on your own. You're the trailblazer. And with that, that is one thing that I love about Essa is she is definitely a trailblazer. I love that she is like everywhere she goes. I think she looks amazing. But she's very comfortable in her own skin, right? Even during times when like, she just had a baby or maybe she's mentioned like, yeah, I'd like to, I'm going to dye my hair or whatever, whatever it is, my weight, my lips, blah, blah, blah. Like she always carries herself and just, it feels to me like she's just so comfortable in who she is as a person. And I love that because I know she's passing that down to my granddaughters, plural now. I was never super comfortable in my skin until probably maybe like 5, 6 years ago. To where I'm just like she's like, screw it. This is what it is. And I'm just going to live in it and love myself. Right. So I do love that about her.
That's awesome.
Whether
Well,
she's
Asa,
got purple hair or sometimes it's red.
Tattoos.
wait,
One
I
time
was
it
gonna
was
say, is it kind of
blonde.
red now? It looks kind of reddish now. It's gorgeous.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And
That's my
we
favorite.
cannot listen. We would be rude if we didn't acknowledge our extra guest right behind you. So, congratulations on the
Thank
new
you.
gorgeous
Yes.
baby. That is making more grandbabies. We always love that. So, I am so excited to finally meet you, and it was such a pleasure to get to
Same.
know a little bit about you. Thanks for being here with us.
You
Yes.
guys.
Thank
Thanks for coming on,
you.
Essa. And hi, Caroline. Welcome to the
Hey.
podcast. Thank you for being
Hello.
willing to come on with us. This
Yeah,
is so
glad to be
fun.
here.
So why don't you just take just a second and just tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you have been a daughter-in-law and who you belong to? Who do you belong to?
Okay, so I am Kathy's daughter-in-law, and I am 35 years old, and we live in South Carolina and in Greenville, South Carolina, and I have 6 kids. I'm the one with
Woo.
all the twins, if you've ever heard me referenced.
Mhm.
And we have been married for 11 years. So I met Kathy in December. It's our anniversary.
It
About
is
I guess it would be like 13 years ago. So
crazy.
Wow.
that was, yeah, the first time.
Yeah.
She
So
was a
11
baby.
years and 6 kids.
Yes.
Yes. Well, your house is quiet. Where's everybody?
Summer off to school. My husband's off on preschool pickup, and my other kids go to a hybrid co-op type school, and then it's nap time for babies.
Oh, babies, plural.
Yes.
Well, thanks for coming on with us. This might be
Yeah.
your nap time too. So, thinking back, before you married into this family, did you have any preconceived ideas of what a mother-in-law was, or did you even think about it?
Yes and no. I mean, I had a series of what I would say semi-serious boyfriends. So I definitely thought a lot about like being married and being in a family and, wanting to be good friends with my mother-in-law and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I definitely thought about it. And that was my ultimate goal was, to be married
Mm.
and have a family. So for
I love
sure.
that you said that your expectation was that you wanted to be friends with her. So you had already put that out there, no matter who she was, that you knew you wanted to be friends with her.
Yeah.
So talk about meeting Kathy for the first time. What was that like?
It was a little nerve-wracking because, I was driving to a place that I had never been to, and Melvin had been, like, delayed with, like, arriving from Guatemala. So but it was great. I mean, like, she is super welcoming to anybody, any stranger here and there, and so the ultimate hostess with the mostest. So that was
We concur.
definitely how I was received, and it's just crazy that all her kids were so little at that time. Just thinking back even to, like, Sarah, I'm writing Sarah a letter when she just got engaged, like, meeting her that first night and how little she was then,
Mm.
and so they were also excited, to have somebody well, maybe Sarah wasn't at that point, but excited, and so, all peeking out the window to see me come up the driveway, so
Wow.
That's
it's come
exactly
So
how it
it's like
was.
they all
Mhm.
welcomed you in. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Kath.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say we literally the kids were peeking out the window because they were so excited to see who this was that because
Oh.
Melvin wouldn't even talk about a girl. So the fact that one was coming home was shocking. And Sarah had the reason she said Sarah had a particular friend of ours that she wanted Melvin to marry. And she even made, she bought a fake wedding ring for Melvin to give this girl. So she was invested in this relationship. So at first she wasn't sure that she was going to like Caroline. She fell in love with her pretty quickly, but it was just cute. It was a funny
Did you
it
learn
was
that story, Caroline? Did you know that?
Not at that no, not at that time, and actually, I don't
Okay.
even know I think I know who you're talking about, but I didn't know that detail, but
Yeah.
So, okay, you've been married 11 years now, and just what you were saying, how you and Kathy are good friends. Has there ever been a situation where maybe she might have done something? And, again, we're not trying to cause conflict here on the podcast, but is there something somewhere where you might have
drama!
disagreed? And how did you walk through that? How did you handle that?
She can edit.
Yeah. I can't think of anything, like, off the top of my head. I mean, no, I mean, she always, like, will say, like, "I don't wanna speak out of turn," but definitely gives me her
Mm,
advice, and I'm
Yeah.
glad for it. I mean, she's correct. I mean, she's been around the block, she has a lot of kids too, and, is generally correct about, like, the situation that we're going through, or, it's nothing that I really can't think of anything that we've definitely, like to, like, tiff back and forth with each other, but and
mhm.
fun, and it's never been anything that, like, we've stopped talking to each other about.
I mean, definitely haven't been perfect, and she's being kind. I have probably said things over the years that I should have kept my opinion to myself. We all know that I'm bossy britches, bulldozer, as my Alicia calls me, and so the older I've gotten and the more I've done this, I've tried to hold my tongue more. I don't think I was that good at it initially. I was offering a lot of parenting advice, and I mean, number one, that's what I do professionally, so it's hard not to do it personally. But as I've gotten older, I've tried to hold it more unless she asks me. So I feel like I've grown in that. She's being generous and saying that
Mm.
but that's how I feel about
Mhm.
it.
So, Caroline, when you think about, those times where maybe she gave you some advice that you weren't really asking for, how did you internalize that and say she's just being so bossy, or do you feel like Kathy is a place where you can come to her and say, "Hey, can you maybe not do that next time?" Or do you guys have that open conversation that if and when she does do something, you feel like you can talk about it
Oh, yeah,
and she
for
not get
sure.
defensive? Okay.
No, yeah, for sure, and I mean, like, I do things, and I'm sure that she doesn't agree with too, and I mean, like, we're still, like, individualized people, and, even today, like, we were talking earlier on the phone, she's like, "Yeah, you should go do that," and so I'm like, that's not a bad, like, place to be in, like, having a different voice of reason, like, than my own, because it allows opportunity for growth.
Girl, that is key for you to even be open to hearing different, her advice or, her life. She has so much wisdom to share, but a lot of daughter-in-laws aren't open to that. Like, this is my life. I want to make my own decisions. I want to do it this way. So props to you for being open to that. That's huge. Yeah.
Go me.
Yeah. I mean, I think it helps the relationship, right? Like you guys wouldn't have this friendship if you didn't have that. And if
Well, and that
Kathy didn't learn to hold her tongue sometimes.
right. Well, I mean, and that's what I think, she has said and described as, like, we hit it off more as, like, friends and have that relationship more dynamic first, and then, daughter-in-law, Nana, all the things too, but we usually, she jokes, like, I'm in her queue of callers every morning because, like, I'm wanting to check in with her too and, like, "Hey, what's going
Mhm.
on?" And so
You know that she loves and adores you.
oh,
That's
yeah.
the foundation.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay.
I told you I'm getting teary just looking at her. I mean,
Yeah.
I do
So
love
thinking
her.
back 11 years, you're coming into the family, it's super nervous. You're like, "Oh, I don't know how this is going to go. Maybe Kathy's intimidating." And to now where it's at, what is it?
Thank
Tell me
you.
about that journey a little bit.
I can't even, like, put it into words, I don't know, like, everyone's intimidating, until you get to know them and, like, know
Mhm.
their dynamic and what it's gonna be like, and so, I mean, we have come such a long way because it's like she was still raising kids, her kids', ages when I first met her with my oldest kid's ages now, and so it's just, like,
Mhm.
crazy that that was just that long ago, like, her little kids were
Mhm.
the age of my oldest kids now. So, it's a hard season, and so just like a lot of grace, she gives and she shows up, whenever, I need something or is always trying to show up.
Mhm.
So, I just know that I can always count on her.
Huge. Great. She's amazing. So if there is something that you could tell new daughter-in-laws and some advice you would give them, what would you say? Somebody
It
who's just now walking into this situation. And everybody's different, right? They're not going to have a Kathy. They're going to have their own. What advice would you give?
I know everyone on your podcast and Instagram's trying to steal her. They're like, "I'll
Yep.
take you for myself. Thank you, bye."
Yep.
Just be open to, the situation. Like we all have different backgrounds, we all have different family, dynamics and the ways we grew up and different traditions. And so like I'm gonna be the one too with like I'm gonna be the dad's mother-in-law. Those reels, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the dad's, grandma. And so I'm like, I have 4 boys. And so I am gonna be the mother-in-law too. And so, just be open and inclusive. And, she is so good about like, we're going off on a Christmas trip this weekend instead of like having to, be at my house on 6 p.m. on December 24th,
Mm,
or we're not celebrating,
right.
So, like, very flexible and trying to figure out how to see us and make it work and all of that kind of stuff.
And that is great advice for any of you mother-in-laws out there listening. Listen to that, and that's important. Okay, so Kath, do you have anything to add to that?
For new daughters-in-law or
Mm-hmm.
no?
Okay. All right. So as we kind of wrap it up with you, Caroline, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Would love for you to tell us, and both of you are going to do this, your favorite thing about Kathy.
Oh gosh. There's too many.
Or one of them.
One of your
That's not
favorite
true.
things about Kathy.
I'll tell you what I enjoyed doing with her. I enjoy making, we enjoy cooking together. And so I just love making memories. And that's probably my favorite thing, the way that she loves to make memories. And so
That's beautiful.
I think she kind of preaches about that, like making core memories. And so she definitely has done that with me and done that with my kids about like tangible ways of making memories.
That's so sweet.
Of that.
Yeah. We've heard about your cooking, by the way.
Yes. I know, she's so good.
Yes.
Yeah. So my
Kath, your
favorite thing
turn.
about Caroline is she just has endless love for people. I mean, she shows up. We talk about showing up. That girl, she's birthing kids and the next night making dinner for someone and then offering to watch their kids and then coming over to decorate their house. And then do they need something cleaned up? And then should she probably run an errand for them while she's out? And meanwhile, she's just birthed twins, the night before. So that is literally how this woman is. The endless love that she has for other people is incredible, and the way she shows up for the people that she loves is inspiring, and it inspires me. Yeah.
Well, it's the burden of being a two. So that is exactly who
Yes.
you are as well.
Well, it is true. We are both Enneagram 2s.
The
So,
Enneagram,
yes,
yeah.
that is
Yeah.
yeah, it is true.
You can
But
relate well to each other.
we can.
Yeah.
We have an easy relationship that I'm
Mhm.
super thankful for.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, that's so beautiful. Thank you guys
Yay.
for sharing your story on here. Caroline, thank you again for coming on, being our
Yeah.
supporter. You do listen to our podcast. We
Yes.
appreciate that. Yes. And we all, even though we just met you face to face, we all love you. We've heard so much about you. So
Thank you.
That's right.
yeah.
True.
So,
It's my
yeah. So
girl.
thanks for being
Yeah.
on.
Yes.
Okay. Love you.
Glad to be here. Love you too.
We have got Scarlett on next. Scarlett, welcome to the podcast. We are
Hi,
so glad to
guys.
have you
Hey.
here. Hey, and tell us who you belong to.
Okay, I am Carrie's daughter-in-law.
And Carrie has
Her.
4 boys. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about who
Oh,
your husband
right.
is. Yep.
Right. Yeah, my husband is Tommy. And that is Carrie's second son, and he is a musician, producer. He's just kind of a magician in the music world to me, at least. So he's the best. I love him.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
you
when
got it.
you were younger,
Mhm.
before you met Carrie, before you met Tommy,
Mhm.
what did you think about when you heard the word mother-in-law?
I honestly kind of always thought it might be the look of the draw. I kind of was open to anything. My 2 grandmothers were very different from each other. And so I saw 2 sides of one very proper Southern woman and another version of a proper Southern woman who was like a lot more of the tough love sort of situation. Both I greatly respect. I was like, wow, you can have 2 very different mother-in-laws that come together with the 2 kids who just love each other. Yeah, it's very interesting to me. So I didn't know. I was curious what it was going to be like.
That's very cool that you kind of went in with an open mind, right?
For sure.
Did you have any expectations about becoming a daughter-in-law?
I think at first my expectations about becoming a daughter-in-law, I just wanted to fit in. I think at first I wanted to be able to bring something to the table to the family, make sure I fit in, and then hopefully get to know them. And then we get to have a relationship, which I was very lucky. And I got that happen, or I was able to have that happen with us. But I think I just wanted to make sure I could add something to the family. And I was coming from being an only child to then being in a much larger family, 5 kids and then 4 stepkids. And so that's, I didn't grow up with siblings, so that was just a whole new world. So I just wanted to, yeah, I don't know,
Yeah.
easily make my way in.
Assimilate in
Mhm.
there. So
Yeah.
tell us about when you first met Carrie and what was that like for you?
Oh my gosh, you guys. So the first time I met Carrie, it was only like 3 or 4 months after I started seeing Tommy, which I should explain as well. We kind of came up in the same creative circle as kids growing up, so we knew who each other were, but it wasn't until we were adults like 19, 20, 21 that we started hanging out again. So it was only a couple months after that, and I was like, "Oh, wow, okay." So he invited me over, and they were doing the sibling gift exchange, and I just was like, "Whoa, I feel very honored to be here. This is kinda crazy. I'm meeting his whole family at once." I think I even met one of his grandmas while I was there, but
Mhm.
I was just like, "Wow, what a large family. I hopefully this works out and I get to hop in," you know? I was like, "Oh, wow, this is cool. I've
Yes.
never had
Sure.
anything like that." Yeah. So she was very welcoming and I was
Were you
nervous.
nervous at all?
Yes, of course.
Talk to us about
Yes.
Mhm.
that. What were you nervous about?
I don't know. I it's always scary and you're unsure when you're joining a new family, when you date somebody. And I just was nervous to get along with his siblings, to see what his family dynamic was like. Mine was very different from theirs. So I just wasn't sure what to expect. Again, not having any siblings. I was like, okay, this is like a lot more siblings. I didn't know how the relationships were.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first time
Yeah.
I we got to know each other was when we met at that taco place, you and me and Tommy. And Tommy was like,
Mm.
"Mom,
Oh,
we're
that's right.
dating." And we sat and talked at that table for it felt like hours, and it
True.
was so easy and just and I was blown away by
Oh,
you. Because it was such an
sweet.
easy conversation, it was
Cool.
nothing trying to impress, you were just real, and it was so refreshing and beautiful to sit across the
Cool.
table from you. I'm like, "All right, I hope this works out because I want her."
Oh, that's cool to
I
hear.
want
Oh my
her.
gosh. Okay, cool. That's cool. Yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Were you anticipating, were there any struggles that you were thinking, "Ooh, I wonder if it might go this way," things maybe you, I don't know, like, I know whenever I kind of am in a situation, I'm the one that I have the big mouth, right? I say dumb stuff all the time.
Mhm.
So I am always
Mhm.
going like, that's my thing. I'm always going in and I'm like, Alicia, be careful. Don't say anything
Yeah.
stupid. It's
Yeah.
going to hurt anybody's feelings." Like, was there anything that you were kind of thinking, man, I wonder if I'm going to be able to do this well?
Well, I think I was mostly nervous and expectation because I tend to wear my heart on my sleeve. Yeah. I I think it was just like a whole new dynamic that I was stepping into because my family is also super far away in Texas. So my mom did a really good job of bringing me to our family a lot, but it had been a long time. So I would think I was learning to adjust to being in another room with a lot of people and making sure I wasn't being antisocial or I was hanging out with Tommy too much because I did want to, invest in his family. And what was crazy was I went on this was also wild. This was awesome, but wild. It was Tommy's birthday that year, in 2020, and so it was before everything got shut down and, for COVID, and we were in New York for, like, 12 hours, and they invited me to go on this trip, and I was like, "Whoa, they want me to go to New York with them at 4 o'clock in the morning? This is crazy. I'll hop on." And then, the whole world shut down, and so I was afraid of there being like a disconnect in like the groove we had going. But then something that Carrie did, what was really great, was we had a standing coffee date. I think it was every Saturday morning, especially in the beginning of COVID. Like discovered that I needed I needed it and maybe she needed it. And then we would
Mhm.
come together, and that's how we got to know one another when you couldn't see each other face to face.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that
I
that
love
is
that.
what I credit to us having a really great relationship is having that time, and I would just walk in the same cul-de-sac that was in my neighborhood, and then once you're going for an hour or so, you just everything just comes out. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So, one thing that's unique about
Mhm.
you from the other two daughters-in-law that we've had on so far is that you were not the first daughter-in-law. The
Mm,
other two were
mhm.
the first daughters-in-law, right? How was that knowing that you had, you were gonna have how many sisters-in-law were there when you kind of came on the scene?
I think that there was just one,
Just Kayla.
Okay,
right?
just Kayla,
Just
just
Yeah,
Kayla.
and
Kayla.
Kayla was like,
Okay.
"Finally, I'm not the only one."
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
"Finally, somebody else."
Was that kind of a relief to you that there might be somebody else who's kind of in the same shoes that you are of kind of showing your ropes and be like, "Hey," you kind of have someone in the same boat as you? Or
Yeah.
did that make you anxious, wondering like, I don't know, like, is there gonna be a girl thing? Is she not gonna like
Yeah.
me?"
No, thankfully, she was welcoming. Yeah, I was the second. I did feel some I was like, "Okay, this is Tommy. This is, like, the next oldest son. This is kinda crazy." And yeah, I it was nice to know somebody had already been there and
Yeah.
that she kind of paved a road a little bit for Carrie and her experience of being a mother-in-law, having a daughter-in-law. And yeah, she really carried the torch, especially marrying the first boy in the family. So I've got to
Mhm.
give it up to Kayla. She was
Yeah.
the first. She was the
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
We were
No,
So I
it's
talking about how
not
appreciate
that
it.
kind
easy.
of is they kind of
It's
blaze
hard.
the trail for the other ones that come behind.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
So obviously, like, you can't have 2 humans in a relationship without
Mhm.
ever having conflict.
Mhm.
So, how do you guys manage conflicts when they show up?
Together, like when we're having
Yeah, you
conflict
and
with one
like, you
another.
and
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah. I think that thankfully we're both two people who like to come to the source and have a conversation. And that's something that I've learned the hard way, not having siblings, I think, within friendships, relationships. Something I'm always going to be working on is making sure that, and this sounds like almost too good to be true of an answer, but it is just the truth.
mhm,
Also, things that I've learned in therapy, it's better to go to the source than to talk around it. So I think if there's any conflicts, which there's not a ton for us, which we're lucky in that aspect, but we don't always agree on everything. And so I think the
right.
best thing that we
Mhm.
do is whether it's over text or when we see each other, it's like we name it. We're like, hey, like you and I might see eye to or not see eye to eye in this situation, but I respect you. And something that Carrie's really good at is her seeking to understand first, is her patience. And she seeks to understand where at least I am coming from with certain
Mhm,
things. So I really appreciate that.
Mm.
I think it's just, yeah, not um, I think at times I might ask Tommy, like, if this or this is going on, what's the best way to approach it? Her being your mom,
mhm.
obviously. But I think she and I just like to talk things out. I think we're both talkers in that way.
Mhm.
And I think that's
Yeah.
that's great. We keep hearing that over and over is that just have the conversation about it, right? Don't
Yeah.
bottle it up and just think that it's gonna, go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
think
You
think
know
the
when it's
conversations are
foundation of
really
scary?
that
good.
is yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. And the
I think
foundation of that
especially
is
when it's
I love
scary.
you. I care about
Mm,
you. And even if, when we do
Mhm,
disagree on some things, whether it's, I don't know, stuff going on in the world or whatever, it's like, hey, I can imagine this is hard for you right now, and
mm,
just acknowledging that instead of, oh my
yeah.
gosh, why isn't she believe it? Why don't they, whatever. But just
Yeah.
knowing that foundation that I love you and
Mm,
regardless, I don't care about anything else. It's just you as a
yeah.
person. And I think we
yeah,
both have that kind of mutual respect for each other. So
mhm.
I think
Yeah.
it's
That's
healthy.
awesome.
And I think we just love people, you know? And
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be at odds with anybody. And not because that's easier. I think it's a lot of the times it's harder to not,
Mhm.
harbor things like that. And it's a little bit scarier to try to be that way. But at the end of the day, I know that Carrie's going to be somebody that I can go to with anything. And I know that hopefully when we have kids, she's going to be the safe landing spot. So
I love that. Safe landing
I
Sweet.
spot.
wanna yeah, I wanna make sure that that is good, regardless,
Yeah.
because she's gonna be a major part of our support system, and she already is, but, when you add
Mhm.
kids to the mix and
Saving
Yeah.
for plane tickets now. Saving for plane
Oh my
Dynamics.
gosh. Yeah.
Is there anything you
Yeah.
want to announce?
Oh my gosh, no, not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Your girl's trying to hop on a tour next year. We'll see. I've got at least one more year of trying to accomplish some things. But y'all be the first to know,
You
let me
get
tell
it,
you.
girl. You
We
get
can't
it.
wait.
Which I don't think we
We
said that
can't
they're in
wait.
LA. They moved from Georgia to LA
Yes.
Yeah,
in
we did,
January. Impressive.
which was crazy. Almost a year.
Mhm.
Wow, that's so hard to believe it's been almost a
Mhm.
year. That's
I know.
crazy.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to other daughters-in-law coming on the scene?
Mm. Okay, that's a good question because I was thinking about that. Is aim to be yourself, something that Tommy has taught me in our relationship, even when we were, just getting to know each other again, was don't be ashamed of who you are. Your partner chose you for a reason. And even if you might be different, like me and Tommy, I feel like are pretty different, artistic, like we're just artists. But he taught me you don't have to hide it, you don't have to push it down. So be
Yeah.
yourself, but also be willing to meet people where they're at. And understand, like, I come from a super loud, big Texas family. And even though the Oakleys are bigger, they're not quite as like boisterous. And so I have
Mm-mm.
had to attune myself to the boys. And then like me and Carly are a lot more alike. And then when the boys get together, they're doing their whole thing. So I've had to learn that, like, okay, it's not that they don't like me or that they don't get me. I'm just different. And so having patience with yourself and others while still maintaining the essence of who you are. And then over time, that's just going to gel, So
Yeah.
that's my biggest thing. Daughter-in-laws, mother-in-laws,
Mhm.
families, when you're combining together, don't hide who you are because y'all all are together for a reason.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mm.
That's great
Love
advice.
that.
So
Thanks.
wrapping up here, I have one more question for you.
Mhm.
What is one of your favorite things about Carrie
Okay.
that you
I have
love?
two. One is more broad and one is
Mm.
more specific. So the more broad one is, and I think I have seen this in Carrie before, but when she came out to LA, I really saw this. Because LA is a big place, especially if you have never visited a lot, you have a lot of expectations of what it's going to be like. Thankfully for me, it hasn't been everything you see in pop culture, right? It's been a lot better than you think. But I think seeing her being able to gel in any situation, we can kind of take her to any part of town. And I feel like she's just happy to hang and she finds her silver lining in everything, right? She finds something that she loves in each spot that we've been to.
Mm.
There's a lot of different neighborhoods and you get exposed to a lot of different things, but she's like just ready to do it. And I love that about her. And then the other one that's more specific, and it's one of my favorite facts to tell people when I meet them on set and they ask me what my husband does and how we both got into it, is he and I both got into our versions of production. His is music, mine's photo and video. But one thing that she did that I would love to replicate if one of our kids wants to do this one day is she let him take what money was left for school and let him invest it in his gear and didn't pressure him about going to school. She just said, go for it. This is your dream. I see you're good at it and I want to invest in you and what's going to help you long term. It's like I love to brag on her about
Wow.
that. It's the coolest thing you can
Mm.
do for a kid, in my opinion, especially
Mm.
someone like Tommy who's not, he thinks outside of the box. He's not regular school's not really for him. So I love that about her.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's new for me.
I forgot
I
I
didn't
about
didn't
know
know
Yeah.
that
that.
that story
you
either.
did that.
Yeah.
Sorry if I
I get to
dropped a
go.
little bit of a
No, I love it. I
No, we
forgot.
love to learn new
We
The
things.
don't
tea.
think
Bring in
about
the
those little
tea.
decisions and how big they can
yeah.
actually be. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
my
I
turn,
think it
right,
was huge.
Alicia?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes.
Yes. Now, Carrie.
Yeah. So as you guys have heard, her beautiful soul, she's so beautiful. And Scarlett has been through a lot in her life, and she still has a heart for other people, and it blows me away. It just does. She's so tender toward other people, but yet a warrior on the inside.
Mm,
And I
thanks.
love how God just puts families together. Like you don't have all these siblings, but because of that, and you've actually come to me maybe once or twice and said, "Hey, I really want to get to know people. How can I do that better?" So you are so good at the
Mhm.
one-on-one and the deep conversations, which we all these boys and the big family need
Mhm.
that. we
Mm.
didn't know we needed that. And you're just so
Aw.
attuned to that. Like, hey, how can I show up for them better? Or how can we have
Mm.
deeper conversations? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, yes, so beautiful that you bring that to the table. Whoops. Having only had one
Oops,
sibling.
okay.
Sorry.
Thank
Um,
you.
that
Thanks.
yeah, and we this family absolutely needed you and needs you.
Mm.
So I just adore how you said yes, Kath. She is a yes girl, saying yes to
Love
driving
it.
across the country.
Yeah.
Driving across the country to live in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who cares
it's
about the
really impressive.
naysayers?
I know,
I
yeah,
know.
it is
The
so
cars were
impressive, Scarlett.
Tommy's car.
Oh,
Your car died once you got, like soon after you guys
girl,
got there. They
the
drove
whole
separate.
thing was crazy. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And yep.
That's a
And
big
then
deal.
my dad had actually passed a month before we left. So we were slated to move to LA. Then at Christmas he passed, and then the fires started happening. And it was
Right.
like a do or die moment. And there was one day where our house was pretty much empty and I was having a hard time. And Tommy's like, we don't have to do this. And I said, we are doing it. I said, I need something to stay the same. And in my mind, this is what we're doing. And I know it's good for us, for our family, and our future. So we have to do it. And if we don't, I think we'll regret it. And so it's really it's future casting, which isn't always great to do, but I just knew it was something we had to do. And for him, even in that moment when it was really hard to leave, I was like, this is really what he needs. More than I,
Mm.
he needs it, you know? And so it was just one of those things where it was really sad to leave, really hard, but I'm glad that we did it.
I
Yeah.
remember standing in your house and literally everything was everywhere. And you're like, take whatever, you guys. Take the dishes, take whatever you want, take the, all the things, take my teas, and just start crying and hugging you and just like, I'm going to miss you. I love this for you.
Mm,
I'm saying I'm excited for you and I cannot wait to see you, but I am going to miss you and just crying in
mm,
that house with
Yeah.
you. But it was so beautiful for you to push through those emotions and know that this
mm.
is what we're doing anyway.
Well,
So
I gained a move perspective as well from your life and also from my mom's. I grew up moving a ton. So we moved like every year and a half across the country. But I thought about you and I thought about my mom, where you guys both moved. Correct me if I'm wrong. You moved with babies across the country or a
Taylor, yeah,
baby, just
Taylor was
Taylor.
3.
And you moved across the country. And then my mom did the same thing from Texas to Florida. And I was thinking I was like around the same age as my mom when we were driving. I
Mm.
was like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine if I had a baby right now, how much scarier that would be. And I did not anticipate how hard it would end up being for me because I was used to moving. And once you get into the groove of it, you're like, oh, it's fine. I'm independent. I got this. But now that I have deeper roots in Georgia, it was just a lot more like, whoa, okay, this is harder. And then I kept thinking of you guys like, wow, very, very strong.
Mm. Well, that is amazing. I love that you are able to kind of look at different role models that you've had, Scarlett, your mom, Carrie, both of your grandmas, and kind of take all the good from those things to kind of make your own worldview of how you want life and how it can act. How it can
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
you can make a life like that. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
we also need to give
this has been
Scarlett props. So
great.
let me interrupt. We also need to give her props because I'm staring at our little corner picture as we're recording, and she just happened to be the photographer of those photos
Yes. Yeah. We didn't talk
of
about
our
that.
podcast. So we
Yes,
do
we
have
forgot
to
about
mention
that.
that too, that she
Oh
is a
my gosh, yes.
superstar. Yeah.
Oh my
Super
gosh, you guys.
talented.
We can't miss that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You'll
My
get
gosh,
some
thanks,
residual
Definitely.
income
guys.
if we ever make income.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, we're doing the
Amazing.
opposite of making income.
Hey, girl, you gotta spend
I
money to
love you.
make money, you know?
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
gosh,
right.
I
Which
love
she is
it.
That's
absolutely
right.
killing it in LA. So she's killing it.
Get it, girl.
Good
Well,
job.
maybe we can
Thanks.
have a Gray Roots meeting in LA.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Do
Set
it.
up
let's do
set up a
that.
do it.
2-camera situation
I've
with
never
some
been.
palm trees
Let's
in the
do it. Oh,
background.
you would
Yes,
love it,
Scarlett,
Alicia.
you set that up. We'll
I
be right
see
there.
it.
We'll be right there.
Amazing. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks
Thanks
for
for
doing
coming
this,
on,
What it
girl.
was
Scarlett.
like.
Of
Yeah.
Thanks for
course.
coming
Yeah.
Yeah,
on.
This was
thanks.
awesome.
We love you.
You know, I don't wanna give any answers that sound too easy, but it's just the truth, you know?
That's all we're
It's
looking
just
for.
the
I
truth.
love
I'm
that.
grateful for Carrie. I feel like I got extremely lucky. So, yeah.
And I
Love
love
you,
you.
girl.
Oh, we love you
Bye.
too.
Love
Oh,
you too.
mwah. Yeah.
Bye.
Yep. Bye. Thanks. Okay, so our last guest on this episode, where we get the privilege to talk to these gorgeous young ladies, is Lauren. Welcome, Lauren. We are glad you are here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here to talk to you guys.
I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are engaged to be married to. So, who is going to be your mother in law in this group?
Well, my future mother-in-law is Miss Carrie, and I'm very excited about that. A little bit about me. I'm the second of four sisters. I'm from Texas, and then I had the wonderful opportunity to move to the East Coast, which is where I met Carrie's son, Ty, and that's who I'm engaged to. We'll be getting married in April. So that's me.
I love that so much. And Alicia and I have known Ty since he was itty bitty. So
Yes.
we feel invested in
cute.
this as well. And we are so excited for you guys and that big day coming up soon. So I want to start off, Lauren, by asking you, when you were younger, did you have an idea of what you thought a mother in law might be, like from movies or social media or just from people you knew? Did you have a concept in your mind when you heard the term mother in law?
Well, first, I absolutely love this question because it does itch a little bit of my education and research background. I love thinking about how we learn about the different things around us through our personal experiences, but movies, TV, those kinds of things. So it first makes me think of this very pivotal TV show that my family and I watched when we were growing up. It's called Everybody Loves Raymond.
Alicia's favorite.
90s,
It's Alicia's
2000s.
favorite. Yeah.
It was on all the time, and my parents loved the humor, and so I grew up kind of with that very stereotypical mother-in-law who lives across the street, and she's very involved, she's very overbearing, and that's where a lot of the humor comes from. So I certainly have those influences, but in my own life, the only in-law dynamics I saw were my father and my mom's parents. And particularly my mom's mom is the only one who's still alive. And it's been really cool to see their relationship be the exact opposite of that. It's very respectful, very caring, and they have very good boundaries that they hold with each other. And it's been cool to kind of see that growing as an adult, how they engage in that relationship.
I love that. That is fabulous. And I know Alicia is very excited that someone else knows about Everyone Loves Raymond. Okay, so about being a daughter-in-law, here you are about to become a daughter-in-law. Have you had thoughts about that and what that looks like? Like, what does it mean to be a daughter-in-law?
Also a fantastic thought experiment. I am the first of my four sisters to get married. And so it's not really a thought that we had built into expectation yet, just hoping that maybe whoever those in-laws would be people that we get along well with. And that's the extent to what I had put into it mentally before it kind of became a reality, and thinking about these people that I'm meeting now. When Ty and I first started dating and I got to meet his family, when it became a reality, like these people could be my in-laws, then I immediately knew that any expectations would be met and exceeded, I felt like, because I got to know the Oakley Miller crew as I got to know Ty, and it felt just like such a peace and comfort, being like, "Oh, this is a great family to get to be a part of if that's what our relationship leads to," which it has, which is really exciting.
That's so fun. Well, tell us about the first time you met Carrie. How was that?
hmm I was reflecting on that and thinking about this podcast, actually. It was just a couple of months into our relationship, so I was extremely nervous. And we came down to Atlanta for the 4th of July, so there was some more of the siblings around, and it was very low key. But I remember being a stranger in a place and Miss Carrie making me feel like I was not a stranger. And that was just the overall sense of peace and being very welcomed in that space. So it helped the relationship start on that foot, that great foot of feel safe here, I feel comfortable, and I felt very welcomed in. And then it was really ironic that a couple of months later, I was kind of displaced because of a hurricane, and Miss Carrie opened her home up to myself and allowed me to stay there for a couple of days. So it just kind of developed that feeling of kind of a sense of home, which is especially helpful for me being so far away from my
Yes.
biological family.
I love that. What do you think, Lauren, are the expectations as you get closer to marriage and closer to this reality of mother in law, Carrie, here. What do you hope that relationship is for you guys?
I would also love to hear your thoughts and expectations as it's a conversation. But I do feel like a lot of what our relationship has already been will just continue to develop and deepen in the like new relationship and it being established and becoming a part of each other's family. But I don't have any like concerns. Expectation always holds a little bit of a negative connotation for me because I'm
Yes.
a little naturally anxious person. So I'm like, if I'm expecting something, I'm going to be ready for the negative outcomes. And it's been none of that whatsoever. So I just feel like super excited to walk into the future.
Lauren, I love how
Same.
self-aware you are already at such a young age.
Mhm.
Very impressive. I just must stop and say,
Yeah,
wow.
she's amazing.
So, Carrie, what about
Can
you?
I?
Tell me about,
Yeah,
yeah,
can
I
I
was gonna say,
answer
I'd love
that?
to hear some of your thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been so sweet to get to know you, Lauren. And I remember I asked you a question or something, and you're like, I don't know. I've never been a daughter-in-law before. I don't know what this is supposed to look like. You're like, I
I
don't
love
know.
that.
Like, you're right. Yeah, I forget. But I feel like that, yeah, no expectations, just a space to, like you just already said, like to welcome you in. This is a place to come if you want to or not if you don't, but you're always welcome here. And it probably took that hurricane or, decisions along the way to go, no, no, I really do mean that instead of just saying it. So, mutual respect with each other and, shared experiences whenever and whatever that looks like. And yeah, just maybe go climbing together one day. That would be really fun. So just having she's very adventurous and likes to camp and
Mm.
climb and all that. So yeah, has run a couple marathons. Yeah, she's so impressive, but you would never know it. The most humble girl probably that I've ever met. So just a sweet. So yeah, just to be around each other
Mhm.
and have some and respect each other and just have a relationship with no expectations.
I love that.
Mm.
Now, it doesn't sound as if anything has come up as far as conflict, Lauren, but we've asked all the other girls that have come on, like, how do you anticipate, I'll say, if there is conflict? How do you think you're going to handle that with old sweet mother-in-law Carrie? What do you think how do you think that's going to look for you?
I think that word that you use, Carrie, like mutual respect, is something that I always want to come back to with conflict. And in my work relationships and my personal ones, one of my biggest goals is to separate the conflict from the person. So I think that would be
Mm.
a big part of that is like we can still value our relationship and this conflict can be a separate thing that we can address with respect for each other and it can stay separate. And then I hope that I will keep myself to my biggest goal is to stay on Ty's side. Like he will be my spouse and that's what's most important. And so whatever I need to do to help support him, if that's, resolving the conflict in a certain kind of way or sacrificing something for myself, that's gonna kind of lead that resolution for me.
You're making all these mamas of boys right here so grateful to hear a young lady say that. That's like the dream for a mom. So,
Yeah,
speaking
get me
for
choked
Carrie,
up.
I know that warms her heart to hear you say that because I can see
Yeah,
her eyes. Yeah, I'm feeling teary
yeah.
just doing that. So I know you're not quite the daughter-in-law yet, so this might be a difficult question I'm about to ask, but I just have a feeling you seem so mature already. What advice would you give someone else that's about to become a daughter-in-law? Is there anything you feel you've learned already as you approach it that you could encourage someone else with?
Yeah, certainly want to recognize I'm speaking from a place of inexperience. Never
I
done it
get
before.
that. And you know what? There's something I like that actually because I don't know. I just think that's good. I want to hear it. I want to hear what you have to say. You seem like a wise young woman.
I appreciate it. I think my largest reflection that I would want to impart, I'm thinking like towards my sisters, is just take away any expectations of perfection for yourself in entering into this
Mm,
long-term relationship with significant other and with their family and with them. Like I'm not going to be perfect in it. I can't expect my mother-in-law or my family-in-law to be as well. And so being able to enter into those situations without that pressure of perfection so you can show up genuinely and authentically would be my biggest piece of encouragement.
See, I knew that was a good question to
no,
ask you.
I
That is
know.
beautiful.
She's
What great advice. Well, wrapping this up, we've asked everyone this question. Both we've asked the daughter-in-law and the mother-in-law this question. What is your favorite thing about Carrie or a favorite thing? You might have more than one. And then Carrie's going to share her favorite thing about you. So we'll let you go first.
That's a fantastic question. I think I kind of touched on it previously with how my first experience with meeting Carrie and just feeling so welcomed, but that has been an enduring example that I've seen getting to see Miss Carrie interact with other people. And one of my favorite things is like you're such a welcomer and a cheerleader for people. I was thinking about it, it's like no matter who you are, you feel seen and you make people safe in those places.
Wow.
And so that's really beautiful to get to see in somebody else and kind of strive towards that example. And so I really appreciate getting to be a part of like your little circle so that it encourages me to be more like that. And then I will also say, I think you have fantastic cookie recipes. I don't think I've eaten a cookie that you've made that I didn't like.
Love that.
They're always so good.
That's so good. Well, Carrie, what
Thank
about you?
you.
What do you adore
Thank
about
you.
this? I want to talk. I want to
There's
share what I
so
adore about her,
much.
but you go.
You know, we should have a whole podcast for just one whole podcast on this girl.
Yeah.
On all of them, actually. She's done so many cool things, but you would never know it. You would never know it. She does not have to tell everybody that what she's done. A couple marathons and camped and by herself and worked and moved across the country. Like you wouldn't know that. She's the most humble, thoughtful person. And watching you over time continue to be that. It's not just this mask you put on to impress. Like that is who you are. At Kayla's house, like she, you know, she's the newest one, I think, and she's in there doing the dishes. She's in here, my house, doing the dishes, like just such a servant, a quiet servant, but yet a very strong warrior underneath that at the same time. So it's beautiful for you to have both of those qualities and to see that play out. And the way you love Ty and you cheer him on, that warms my heart. So thank you for that. And I adore you. And I cannot wait till April and what follows.
That's so
you.
beautiful. Any
Yeah.
final thoughts, Lauren, as our last daughter-in-law? Anything else you want to share to us mother-in-laws?
Well, can I pose a question?
100%.
Perfect. As mother-in-laws and as I'm like entering into this space of the in-law world, do you have any advice or suggestions for me?
I love that question, Lauren. And my
Mhm.
advice would be to 100% keep doing what you're doing, to be open and to recognize that most of the time, the mother-in-law only wants the best for you. But we're not perfect at expressing that always. And so give us grace if we, mess that up, and be honest when we have hurt you. If we do hurt you, let us know and give us a chance to repair it, because I think I can speak for the three of us and they can share too. I know that's how we all feel. We never would want to hurt the women in our life, the daughters-in-law. We would never want to hurt our sons-in-law. But we might, because we're human. And so I would say to give grace and be willing to look for the good in us and give us a chance to repair the relationship. What about y'all? What would you say?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. And just different personalities, right? Like more different personalities will clash at some point, but our intention is there. And I would never want to hurt you with anything I say, but I can be kind of, like, well, don't say it in that tone, or she might have taken it this way, but always know that my heart is for you. Yeah. And don't be afraid to come to me and say, hey, when you said that, did you mean this or did you mean that? Like, don't be afraid to do that.
I would say just freely give grace and empathy, knowing that we're not perfect. And don't be afraid to bring up the things that potentially could have hurt you. I say dumb stuff. I don't know why. I just open my mouth and it jumps out, and it's never how I mean it. And then I've got myself in a situation. But yeah, just grace, empathy, and don't be afraid to have the conversation.
And I think it was Scarlett maybe who said it earlier about being authentic. Continue being your authentic self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Don't be afraid to come to the table as you.
Because we need you. We want
Need
you.
you. Yeah. Well, you are precious. Loved having you. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
guys. I wish you all the
Thanks,
very
Lauren.
best.
Yeah,
Bye.
we'll talk soon.
Thank you for listening to Grey Roots Podcast. I hope you were inspired to take a new risk in your own relationship. If you think someone in your family or a friend group would also enjoy listening, share our podcast with them and encourage them to follow us on all their listening platforms, because we're all still learning.